to do some Q&A with our scene team. So I am going to turn it over, if we're all ready over there, to turn it over to Ed to do a quick welcome, and we'll get some questions. How this is going to work, if you have a question, raise your hand. Vicky over there or myself will run to you and get your question from there. All right? Kick us off.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear us okay over here? We've got our speakers set up on this side, so if you're having a hard time hearing, let us know. I'll try and talk as loud as I can. Well, we thank everybody for coming down to Scranton to see this once in a very long while opportunity with the 4012 and the 4014. The number 13 and the number 15 locomotives built by Schenectady Locomotive Works. And we also want to take a moment and thank all of those who make this work behind the scenes. I'd like to start out with our colleagues over here. We've got Josh Chrisman in the blue hat with the star, and they spent days getting a lot of this set up, and we really appreciate all the good work that they do. Those are also the team that take care of the passenger cars that we have over here. We have a beautiful fleet of restored and beautifully maintained passenger cars that travel with the 4014 on occasion. Business cars. So they're really special fleet that we have. We're very proud of the cars. We're very proud of those men and women that are maintaining those. We also have, I don't know if she's around here, but our big boss, Maureen, she's in charge of the whole thing. We also have our police contingent, Terrell Vandergriff. He's our police captain, and he has a contingent of agents that travel with us and interact and interface with local law enforcement, NS Police, and CSX Police. So this is a really big operation. Take lots and lots of people to make this work. So thank you, everybody, for helping us get this done. Thank you, Terrell. Thank you, Josh, Maureen, everybody. I'd like to ask you all a question. So what's the number one thing that we talk about in the very number one purpose when we're out looking at the big boy? What is that? 25 feet back, but there's a singular word that we're looking for.
Safety!
Safety, that's right. We want to remind everybody, I know nobody in this crowd is guilty of being too close to the track. I see a couple of big lenses there. I know sometimes the guys with big lenses stand in the middle of the track. I'm not trying to call anybody out here, but we do not want anybody standing on the track at any time ever. And please never take a selfie. Christmas card photographs of your family. Do not take wedding pictures. None of that.
Question, Ed, what are you wearing and what's it for?
Well, Cole and I, this is, let me start, forgive me for not introducing everyone here. We've got Tracy Murray and Craig, and we've got Brent Malota. We have an intern. Vicky. Hi, Vicky. Nice to meet you. Tracy and Craig keep the lights on and keep the power running in the train over there. You can hear that big rumbling in the background. That's a diesel engine that runs 24/7 the entire time we're gone. And those are the guys that keep it running, keep it fueled, keep it monitored, keep the lights, all kinds of technical details on the train that they handle. We're very happy to have them helping us. And I've got a couple members of what we call the home guard team. We're the guys that will stay with the train the whole time. Cole Lewis, newest member of the steam crew, machinist. He's wearing the white suit. We're doing some inspections underneath the locomotive. And we have John Stravino, boilermaker. Bruce Kirk, retired machinist par excellence, and Ted Schulte, locomotive fireman. So thank you, guys.
All right, we have a question over here.
I was curious, how long is your work day? What time do you start in the morning, and what time do you knock off at night?
Well, it depends on what we do. Generally, we try to plan our operational work day to fit within an 8 to 9, maybe 10-hour window. Steaming the locomotive is usually about 3 hours prior to departure, sometimes a little bit longer. So if we leave at 9 a.m., we're on duty at 6 a.m., those responsible for getting the locomotive ready. And the work is done when it's done. We've got to take water every night, connect to a fire hydrant, soften the water, do various things, service the locomotive, inspect it. So it's pretty common that we have 12-hour days. Sometimes it's 14 or longer, but generally we really try to plan the operation so we can consistently not exceed 12 hours of out here grinding away in the sun.
Thank you.
Here we go, another one.
What's the boiler pressure?
The boiler pressure on the 4000s is 300 pounds per square inch.
Voila!
Meatloaf? Again? That's it? I'm switching families.
Okay, we've got a question over here about the wheels.
How long does it take for Big Boy to run out of coal and shovel it up and fill them back up with coal?
Okay, so there's a question about what does it run on, and can you tell us a little bit of why maybe it doesn't run on coal anymore?
Well, the big boys originally were designed and built to burn coal, and his question, if you didn't hear, he wanted to know how long could it run on a load of coal, and that was generally roughly 4 hours. The big boy was a great, powerful machine, but it would run out of coal and water. Wouldn't even make it to Laramie, Wyoming. For those familiar with that part of the country, Laramie is, a place called Harriman was only 30 miles up the hill, and they had coal and water. And most of the time, the big boys and all the other locomotives had to take coal and water. So you're looking at 4 hours, buddy. 4 hours, and they didn't shovel the coal. The locomotive was real big. It had a machine called a stoker, and that's what put the coal in the firebox.
So here's our real question. How many wheels does the big boy have?
Well, if you count how many wheels you have, you've got 4 up here, and you got a first set of 8 drivers there, and you have a second set of 8 drivers there, and you have another set of 4 there. That's why they call it a 4-8-8-4. And then on the tender, we have 7 axles back there. So there's 14 on the tender, plus 4, plus 8, plus 8, plus 4. So it's got 19 axles overall and 135 feet. Pretty big, isn't it?
A question over here, Ed. Where do you guys find a lot of the parts that go into keeping this thing running?
Well, the common nuts and bolts, we order those special. They're heavy duty. A lot of times high tensile or a special type of bolt. We don't go to Home Depot or any Ace Hardware. There is some really good stuff available at Home Depot and local hardware stores. But all the various components that we buy, other than nuts and bolts and cotter pins, we'll fabricate ourselves.
Can you tell us about the name Big Boy written up on chalk?
I'm going to let's let John answer that question. He likes to talk about Big Boy.
It's a great question. When the locomotive was built, it was built not too far from here in Scranton, New York.
Yeah.
The locomotive was built not too far from here in Scranton, New York. It was built just before the Second World War started at the tail end of 1941. And when the first 4,000 was rolling out, I guess legend has it that a machinist or a worker there at the plant in Alco went up there and chalked the name Big Boy on the smoke box, and that's how the name became legend.
So there's a question over here about what are the tenders behind the Big Boy?
The tenders behind the Big Boy, so what we call the primary tender is our main fuel and water. There's 6,000 gallons of fuel oil and 25,000 gallons of water. And each one of the 2 tenders back there each carry about 28,000 gallons of water. So we round it around 75,000 gallons of water and 6,000 gallons of fuel. And that'll take us, if we're careful about things, maybe 220 miles. If we have a diesel with us, 250 miles.
All right, we have a question over here.
When was it converted from coal to oil?
When we completed the restoration in 2019, we converted it at that time. It's pretty simple. A lot of people, I think it's easy to think that that's a complicated process. It's really not. Oil to coal or coal to oil was a pretty common transfer from one to the other. It was pretty common in the days of railroading. So it was pretty simple conversion, really. Good question.
We've got one down here.
How tall is the big boy? The big boy is 16 feet 6 inches. 16 feet 6 inches tall. The fastest speed that I've personally run this is 62 miles an hour. 6'2". We did that down in Texas. Everything's big in Texas.
All right, who's got more questions? How long did it take from what?
How long did it take from here? Oh, gosh. Probably not even 45 minutes. It's not that far from here. Our question was, how long did it take to get from the Nicholson Viaduct to here?
Hey, Ed, as we're going around, can you talk to us a little bit more about the challenge of planning the whole tour? How long did it take in the planning process and what that kind of looked like?
The question was about planning and what kind of limitations we have with weight and clearances. There's really not that many limitations. The railroad network in the United States is very consistently robust and heavy duty. And that's pretty true throughout the generations. Railroading by its very nature is heavy. The rail cars and the interoperability of the railroads are fairly consistent. I enjoy the planning pieces of it. When I started this job, I used to hate to drive. I did not like to take road trips. I just didn't like that. Now I love it. So it's nothing for me. I'll get into an automobile, driven probably 15,000 miles in a rental car, literally 15,000 miles, planning the trip. We had several other considerations that we had on the table. So I've been a lot of the Norfolk Southern already. Originally, we got through D.C., I've been through Baltimore, Philadelphia, all this entire route. I've been here a few times. So everywhere we take the locomotive, I go physically look at it. I look at all the track and all the switches and the railroad ties and all of that detail to make sure that we can take the locomotive where it needs to go. Right up here around this little tower right there is called Bridge 60. Around is a left-hand curve, and that curve's a little bit sharp. Big boy obviously made it through there, and will make it through on the way out. But because of the nature and the size of the locomotive, there is just extra considerations, and the responsibility of getting it from point A to point B falls on with us. So we want to make sure and dot all the I's and thing. I've had opportunities to operate locomotives on the CSX, Reading and Northern, and NS, just so I could physically get a lay of the land. High rail, that's the little truck that runs along the rails. I've high railed a few sections of track, but mostly just drive there, get out, walk and look at something, zoom in on Google Earth. It's a really complex, lengthy process. It's taken us, we began planning in November, and I got right to work looking at Google Earth and began pulling in resources to figure out where we're going to go and how we're going to get there. It's really one of the more enjoyable aspects of what I do, because of the stress that is on you if you don't know things for fact. I have to know absolutely we're going to be able to go from one place to another. And to your point, there's a few little tight spots here and there. There's bridges that are older, that when they were built were nice and robust. They gradually will be either rebuilt or replaced. And so with that, the weight of the locomotive puts additional pressure on the bridge, therefore we slow down. And sometimes that's why it takes us a long time to get to point A to point B. We've got various bridge structures along the way that we slow down for. So it's a huge chess game puzzle. It's kind of fun.
We appreciate all of your questions. We've got time for a couple more. Here's one.
Ed, at times in videos we might have seen 4014 run with elephant ears on. Okay, was that just not put on for this trip because of fitment and tunnels?
His question was, they're commonly referred to as elephant ears. Some people call them smoke wings. And they're big, large plates that fit up just on the side of the smoke box here. And the nature of the locomotive, I don't know if you can see it from here, you can. So the front part of the locomotive, the running board, which is the little walkway you see there, is tapered. Well, the smoke wings, those steel plates, mount on that tapered area. So when you're looking at the smoke wing, it actually visually obstructs your view from the cab. They put smoke wings on only one locomotive, the 4019, as an experiment. They learned that they weren't needed, so there wasn't a real necessity to have them on there. Therefore, between that and the fact that they do obstruct your view somewhat, they took them off. We put them on for one trip only. It was kind of a one and done fun thing for us to do. So this locomotive would go down in history as the second 4000 class with elephant ears. That's another name for those things. Long answer right here.
All right, we've got one question down here, and then I have one.
How long did it take to build the big boy? Well, when these were being mass produced on an assembly line in American Locomotive Company in Schenectady, New York, a fabulous big industrial complex that was not only building these, but they were building American Sherman tanks. And they could put one of these things together in a matter of 3 to 5 weeks to put one of these together.
All right, again, thank you all for your here for the next couple of weeks. What's going to happen while it's here?
Well, we're going to start doing some work that's required by our legislative governing body, the FRA, and it's routine work for us, but with a steam locomotive, it just takes a long time to do that work. The locomotive right now, we steamed it up yesterday at 300 pounds, and we were having a good time with everyone blowing the whistle. Now the locomotive has about 150 pounds of steam pressure on it. We're going to let it continue to cool off, and that pressure will go to zero. That's going to take the next 5-6 days. And at that point, we're going to drain all the water out of it, wash it out really good, do all kinds of little maintenance on all the valves and all the little things. We'll inspect it, we'll look it over real good, lubricate some stuff real good, put it all back together, fill it with water, steam it up again before we head toward Philadelphia for July 4th.
Awesome. Well, big round of applause for Ed and our steam team. Thank you. And on behalf of Union Pacific Norfolk Southern National Park Service, we want to thank you all for coming out today. Enjoy yourself, stay safe, and save 25 feet back.